Hi, it's John, and today I'm going to build a preset kind of live, but it won't actually be. I'll have to edit because I make so many mistakes when I'm talking that I have to end up editing and chopping stuff out. So I was listening to Spotify in the car the other day, and a song came on which I hadn't heard for years and years and years, and it was by Bryan Adams called It's Only Love. Bryan Adams and Tina Turner, actually. And the intro to that song is amazing. Then there's a lead part that comes in. That sounds amazing too. So I was like, okay, that's it. I'm going to do a preset. So I'm going to jump in and figure out how to do this, and I'm going to take you along for the journey. So I've searched for It's Only Love by Bryan Adams in Spotify. I'm getting some very Aussie things coming up, maybe because I'm in Australia, but I'm getting like Cold Chisel and John Farnham, Powderfinger, Paul Kelly, and some random stuff across here. But anyway, that is completely irrelevant. Here is just the intro part of this song. All right, I'm going to get my headphones on. We're going to figure some of this stuff out. So one of the first things I usually do is figure out what was used on the record if possible. And I usually sort of turn to AI to get some kind of overview because basically it's like narrowing down a Google search using AI. It's already done that kind of work for me. I don't build presets using AI because it doesn't have general intelligence. It only knows what it knows from reading forums like Rig Talk, etc., going to websites like a Quipboard, and maybe by studying some videos as well where people talk about certain tones. If nobody has ever discussed this particular song, it's just going to make something up. It's just going to guess. And the guess might be all right, and it might be fine for what you need. But generally, it's not going to know what it's talking about. So if we can find out who played on the record, what amps may have been used, that kind of thing, then we could just use our own judgment, use our own ears, and figure this out ourselves. So let's find out what was used. So Gemini's saying that Keith Scott was the guitarist that played on the record. Exact gear lists for specific songs from that era are hard to pinpoint definitively, which is what I was saying really. It's kind of just what it can find on forums. Guitars used: Fender Strat, Gibson Les Paul, Gretsch White Falcon. I've seen some videos of Bryan Adams, but it doesn't mean anything because it's just a video, but I've definitely seen Bryan Adams using a Strat, a Tele, and a Les Paul. This particular tone to me sounds quite Stratty. It's got that kind of single coil sound, so I'm going to go with that. Then amps used the AC30. Now to me, when I hear this tone, that's what I think of an AC30 sounding like. So I reckon that intro is probably an AC30. It also says a Marshall Plexi for the more driven or crunchier parts, so maybe it was a Plexi, not the AC30. And Trainwreck amplifiers. Effects: chorus, reverb, delay, overdrive, light distortion, obviously. So, okay, I've never made a preset using the AC30, I don't think. So I'm going to try and do the rhythm part for the intro, and then I'm going to just play you now the solo that comes in. I'm going to try and do both with a single preset using just the AC30 combo. Let's see how I go with that. But let's go back to Spotify. The next part that plays is the solo that comes in just after the intro part. Now you can hear then those higher notes. That sounded really single coily to me, so that's what I'm going to go with. I'm going to use my Schecter Nick Johnston traditional guitar and then just build up a preset. All right, let's grab a guitar and jump into it. Okay, so the first thing I want to add is the amp. So let's go and add a block, and I will be using the UK30 normal amp. That's the AC30. So what do I want? So before that, I'm going to add a Dynacomp, dynamic compressor, and I'll probably just leave that. I actually like the way that it's just defaults to that output and sensitivity. It seems to work for most situations. What else are we going to need? We're going to need a I'm going to put a tube screamer, but that will just be boosting the amp, so level, full, and drive off. We're going to need reverb, and I'm going to go with a small room reverb. Wow. And you can hear it's very noisy. So because I'm sitting next to the computer and I've got single coils, I'm actually going to add a gate as well. You might not need this if you're just using your speaker. Okay, that sounds awful. So let's do something about this. So, well, we'll start with adding. Actually, let's go back, and I just want to hear that intro again. Okay, so I just heard something else then as well. So we'll sort this out. I think I'm going to go with like an MD42. I'm going to add 2 mics actually. So add a mic, and I'm going to go with a ribbon. This is way too high. So let's cut that down, and it doesn't sound like there's a lot of bottom end. So I'm going to say 95 for that one. I don't know. Let's start at 95. Cut that high cut down, right down. I think for the let's say 7. Okay. I mean, that's pretty much in the ballpark already. I think that's quite a nice sound. But, oh yeah, I heard some delay, so I'm going to add, what shall I add? Okay, so I'm adding a dynamic delay. And it was quite a short, oops. No, there wasn't much on it. Okay, first I need to get the tempo. So I'm going to play the intro and I'm going to tap the tempo. So it's got oh, there you go. So it was. I just needed to put the tempo in. It's the tap division is controlling how many the speed of the repeats, the time, and then the feedback could drop a little bit. It just sort of does 1, 2, like that. So, and the reason I'm using dynamic is like it uses it's a ducking delay, so it kind of gets out of the way while you're playing, and then you hear those repeats. I'm not going to mess with the other settings just yet. Okay, now let's get back to the speakers. I'm going to move these mics around. So the MD421, has a bit of a mid-range kind of honk to the. I think I'm going to need an EQ as well. Actually, I'll just add a block. I'm going to put it after the amp. And I like the 7, so I'll use that. going to boost the preset volume while I'm recording. Now, another thing I do is check the tabs because I'm lazy. So I quite often will do this. I go to the Ultimate Guitar and look at the tabs and see what the chords are. Now, I could hear that it was a D. But that just helps me get a little bit closer. So let's get that out of the way. I want to get some of that mid-range honk in there, so I'm going to boost to 800. I wonder, it's got quite an, it's got two guitars playing, so I want to fatten it up. And I really like the new micro shifter, so I'm going to add that as well. But maybe, well, yeah, not that much. Maybe like 4 cents. Sounds kind of awesome. I'm going to try playing along and see what it sounds like. Pretty happy. But now we need a lead scene. So I'm going to add a scene called lead. And I'm going to make that work using what's here. The first thing, obviously, is it needs more gain. So I'm going to whack that gain up a little bit. Let's say, I don't know, 40. I also think the cut changed a bit, so I'm going to... I think the cut would help a little bit. This is all using my bridge pickup on the on this guitar, by the way. I think I used a different tap division. Like oh, whoops, wrong way. Dotted. I also want to, this is just what I want from this rather than being what's on the record, but I just want to add way more reverb. Well, maybe not that much. quite a lot of feedback, but I just bring the mix down a little bit of that. What else? Let's just try it with the EQ bypass. Oh, you know what? Because it's, let's save that. Because it's a lead sound, I'm going to change the mics around actually. I'm going to go SM57, SM57 and a ribbon. Oh, I got the blend all off. That's weird. Okay. Let's go back. So it looks like I've already got it on one mic. Let's go back to this one again. Okay, I want it to be the majority of that tone. I want to come through the MD421 and then a little bit of brightness from the ribbon mic. Maybe even a little bit more. Pretty happy with that. And then for the lead, the SM57 is off axis. Quite loud. I want to take off a little bit at the top end, so I'm going to move the ribbon up here. Let me just see how that sounds on its own. So the mic 1 is a SM57 off axis. Mic 2 is the ribbon on axis. And I'm going to go somewhere around 30-35% blend. I am going to engage this because I want to take some of that top end out. And the bottom end because there's no need for that, and boost the mids. Maybe I should have kept it as it was. Even this gate can't even handle this amount of noise that being sort of so close to everything. If I turn this off, probably need the metal gate, but then I don't like the way the metal gate just chops everything. So even if I put this on high, oh, that helps a bit. All right, let's see how it sounds with the track. probably a little bit bright. I reckon I can take a little bit more out of this. I might do it at the speaker level though. So if we've got a high cut here of 7, I'm going to take it down to 6. That way we're not kind of getting any extra audio information into the sound. Let's try play along. So there we go. I think I got quite close in a pretty short amount of time. That's such a cool riff to play, by the way. I could play along with that song all the way through. It's so good. The solo sound on its own. That, again, when it's in the mix or playing along at least, it sounds like it's quite similar, and it's got a bit more edge to it than the other version. It could have been because they're using a different amp. It could have been going from the Vox to the Marshall. Not really sure. Could have been a blend of both. And it could also be that they're using completely different guitars to this. Maybe he was playing the solo on the Les Paul. Who knows? But that was the idea here, was to just see what I could do with what I thought in my head I was hearing. And that was a Strat with an AC30. So I think I've done quite well. I hope you like it. I'm going to upload this to the cloud, and it will be called JGG It's Only Love. There'll be a bass preset, which is the rhythm tone, and then a lead scene, which obviously is the lead. So let me know what you think of it. Drop a comment below, and I'll see you in the next video. If you enjoyed this preset video, please consider going over to my website, johnsguitargarage.store. There's heaps of presets on sale there, including an 80s rock pack that has heaps of classic guitar tones. There's a Satriani style pack called the JGG Satch Pack. There's an Iron Maiden set. There's a John Mayer preset, Dimebag Darrell. Loads of stuff to look through there. And please consider supporting the channel, helping me out, and maybe donating some money by purchasing one of these presets. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.